your host of this brand new Vodcast, a video cast, just like a podcast with some video in it. And it's called From Humble Beginnings. I'm talking to small business owners and specifically for women and their women-owned business, small businesses. So this is going to be really cool. I have my very first guest with me right now is Suzanne Ramsden. She's with Maverick Training Center. Welcome.
Thank you, and I'm very excited to be here, be your first guest.
Yes, I'm so excited to get this going. So first off, what is Maverick Training Center? What do you focus on here?
We're a combat sports academy.
Okay.
So
it's a buzzword now, right?
Yes, it's a buzzword. It's martial arts. We teach Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Muay Thai to adults and children.
Okay. So how did you even get started? What was the year that you decided to start a combat sports academy?
Oh gosh, I guess it was like around 2000. And somebody told me about Bruce Lee. So I read about Bruce Lee and I thought I want to do that. So I called up somebody that trained with him actually who lived in Los Angeles. Long story short, he would come down here and train me, and that just blossomed into me training with different really fantastic martial artists. I've trained with Jiu-Jitsu world champions, Muay Thai world champions, and I was just really fortunate to train with like some of the best in the world. And I had two small children, and they were just kind of raised in the academies that I went to, and
so they grew up doing it too.
They grew up doing it. Both of my kids are black belts now too, so
wow.
And they both have competed, and they're instructors here now.
So is black belt the highest you can go, or the most advanced you can get?
It's really the most advanced belt.
Okay.
Once you're a black belt for many years, you get to other belts, but most people don't attain that. Black belt is what you're achieving.
So your entire family are black belts?
Yes.
Don't mess with them.
Yes.
Don't mess with the Ramses.
Yes.
Okay, so being a woman-owned combat sports academy, has that presented challenges to you?
Yes, because it was different, especially in this area of the country.
Sure.
And so, people just kind of look at me like, what are you doing? Or didn't take me seriously. But again, I had really great instructors that guided me, not only teaching me the martial art, but I would learn about how to run an academy. But I'm one of these people that I learn from everything, from every experience. So when I would go visit my instructors, I would look at the academy they teach out of, how they operate that academy. And then I just felt that as a woman, I had to present myself and my academy from a different angle. So I wanted to be very technique-based, technical academy.
Okay.
So that's what happened. It grew and grew and grew, and we're downtown now. I'm very happy.
Yeah, you are so successful. It's really neat to be able to, like she said, we are downtown Huntsville,
Yes.
Alabama.
Yes.
So to go from, you were off of Whitesburg for a while, which is down
off of Weatherly and
okay.
Weatherly and the Parkway.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you first started, did you see yourself morph into being a huge opportunity like this in downtown?
No, I didn't. I actually was very passionate about the martial arts, and I knew that I wanted to somehow get a group of people together, and I wanted to do everything a little bit differently.
Yeah.
And so I kept training, getting my credentials. But I had no idea I'd be in this place. I had no idea my children would be working here. It was a goal, like in my head, like, oh, I want my kids to take this on, but I didn't want to force them.
Sure.
So no, the fact that we're in downtown Huntsville just still blows me away. It was my kids that talked me into coming down here, actually. I don't think I'd be down here if it wasn't for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I have to listen to them. They're a lot younger, and so they can guide me. No,
they know what's up, Mom.
They know what's up, yeah.
Okay. So who helped you along the way in this? You mentioned a couple instructors and mentors,
Yes.
but what was really the driving force behind being able to be where you're at now?
Well, I didn't have another woman to talk to. So there's no women that I could talk to about opening up an academy or anything. So I had to just see what the guys were doing and then just kind of tailor it to Suzanne. And so that's what I did. But my instructors, my jiu-jitsu instructor that I had for like 10 years would, if I was feeling maybe a little down or something like that, he would talk to me, tell me keep going, and he taught me some really, obviously some really good jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And the Muay Thai instructors that I've trained with were just taught me wonderful things. And my Richard Bastillo is the one that trained with Bruce Lee. He taught me a lot about being a martial artist, and so that's what helped me, and just being driven. I'm just a really driven person, and so I just wouldn't stop.
Yeah. So then looking back and obviously where you're at now, 20 plus years later, what would you say to yourself when you first were getting started? Do you have a message for your former self?
Yes, I would tell myself to enjoy the journey more. because my jiu-jitsu instructor several years ago told me, he said, well, first of all, I went to him and I said, so-and-so, I've forgotten exactly what he said, but somebody said something to me, and I said, why would they say that? He said, you need to stop and look around and see what you've achieved.
Yeah.
And this is several years ago when I was much smaller, but I just went from this to that, 2 small kids, training, the business. I never looked up.
Yeah.
So I would tell myself to look up, like he told me to do, and look at what you've achieved, and then keep going. But I just never took the time. I was so busy.
Kind of in that rat race, just get her done.
Just the one foot in front of the other, exhausted all the time. But now, my children are older and they do a lot at the academy, so I don't do as much here now. And so I do have the luxury of coming in here going, wow, this is so cool. I'm so proud,
Yeah. So how many people have you built up into, how many people did you start with so that you've built to now how many people?
I have well over 200 people here.
That's amazing.
And I started with one. I remember my first student. So just one at a time, just 1, 2, 3. We started at Dawn's Gym on Bailey Cove Road.
Okay.
I rented an aerobics room, and then we rented a small little. I found out later it was a trailer. I didn't know it. It's on it's off Weatherly, but it had a foundation or whatever around it, so I didn't know it was a trailer. So we went in there, and then we rented a small space.
Did it look like a pod or something?
It just looked like a long building. I didn't know it was a trailer. My son actually said, that was a trailer, Mom. And I was like, I didn't know I rented a trailer. But we outgrew that. We just kept growing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would bring my instructors down. So I had that. People would come because I would have these world-class martial artists come.
How did you get that? How did you get these world-class martial artists?
Because I called them on the phone. I picked up the phone and I called them. Yes, I did.
Wait, so did you know these people from Adam?
No, I internet.
Good for you.
Yeah, that's how when I heard about Bruce Lee, I just went on the internet.
Did you talk to Bruce Lee?
Oh no, he's dead. He's dead a long time ago. Yeah, no.
2000. I was like, when did he pass?
No, he's been gone a long time.
Okay.
No, but his student that trained with him, I just called him on the phone, and I trained with a jiu-jitsu world champion for a long time, and I just called him on the phone. And so then I just went up there and took a private lesson, and then just started training with him.
So it's something that made you stand out, aside from the other instructors in the area. You were bringing in people that maybe no one else had the opportunity or the thought process to, that would attract people to who I am and what I do.
Yeah. I realized that I was a novice. I mean, I started my academy when I was a white belt.
She was already doing this from the get-go. Brush your shoulders up.
No, I was a novice, but I just, I was training. I thought, well, I have a few people training with me, and I was teaching exactly what I was taught. I wasn't trying to act like I knew anything that I didn't know.
Sure.
I was given, I took notes of private lessons, and so I would teach, what I was being taught and bring them down, and that's just how it grew. So
very cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so obviously we talked about it not being what you thought it was going to be. It morphed over time.
Yeah.
Where do you feel like you're at now? Did your concept change from the beginning of when you first started?
No, the concept hasn't changed, and thankfully my kids are on board with the way I was thinking. So I wanted a little bit of a not so traditional academy.
Yeah.
So we're not super traditional here, but we focus on the person to take them where they want to go, whether they're maybe somebody that's behind a desk, not athletic at all. They have a place here. So does the very athletic person. So does the mother. So does the grandmother, so does the teenager, so is the small child.
How is that different than any other combat sports academy or other martial arts studios?
Well, first of all, it's combat sports, so it's real. It's stuff they can use. And I just think coming from a woman, when you're a female instructor, you're not going to be able to beat up all the guys that come in. Okay?
I don't know. She's pretty tough. She could probably do that.
So my angle was technique.
Okay.
And my son is a very good competitor. My son's very talented, and my daughter is too. And they come at the teaching from a very technical place also.
Yeah.
And I want everyone to have a place here. I don't want the tough guy gym. I don't want the people to be intimidated to be here. So at a very early age, my kids learn to treat everyone the same. Everyone is as valuable as the other person. The great competitor we have here is as important as the person that no athletic proudness at all, and they're still important here.
Well, that's a good lesson in life anyway.
I think so.
Not just in a training center, but when you're walking about town or you're in your workplace or anything like that. You're treating everybody the same.
Yeah.
That's biblical.
Right.
I love that. So aside, we talked about where you came from, but we actually have a bit of a more personal connection.
Yes.
Back when I did anchoring reporting for a local TV station, I wanted to talk about self-defense, and she brought me in and I interviewed you years and years ago. Oh my gosh, that was like what, 2015, 2016?
It was a long
and
time
when
ago.
you were in your other location off of Leatherly,
Yes.
and teaching me some self-defense. I had a lot shorter hair back then. Probably will never do that again.
It was fun though.
It was like yours, but I curled it under.
Yeah.
For the two. It was easy in the
mine's
morning.
wind none.
Yes, but it's beautiful. It's beautiful. But yeah, just having the opportunity to learn from you and be able to learn from those. You still have some of the same instructors too, don't you?
Yeah, I have students that have been with me for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
And students that started with me many years ago are now becoming black belts here.
Oh my goodness.
So that is a thrill. I'm so excited.
That's so rewarding.
It is, but that's just really cool.
Yeah.
It's like a
Besides rewarding, it's cool.
It's cool. So I'm leaving like somewhat. I have a legacy here, you know, and my children, through my children, they're students, and so it's cool is the word. It's very cool.
That's awesome. Yeah. So if you were to talk to another small business owner, whether it's a woman or a man, either way, we all have challenges as we're going through starting something that we know we want, we're passionate about, but we struggle maybe with staying motivated. So where should they turn when they start to feel themselves losing that motivation there?
I think that if you start to lose your motivation, think about what your goals are. Like where are you trying to go to, and what have you achieved so far? So even
don't
if
take that for granted.
Yeah. So, and also recognize it, which is something I failed to do for a long time. So you know, you're trying to get to B maybe, and you're back here, and you're like, oh, I'll never get there. But what have you gotten so far? Where have you gone? You know?
Yeah.
And I also think that you also don't want to stay too beelined on going one route, because there's a lot of changes that happened on my way to this point that I let happen, like something, maybe a door closed. You know that old adage, a door closed, another open?
Sure.
That's true.
Sure.
That is very true.
And not trying to force the door open.
Exactly, because when something happened, I was like, oh man, so I just went somewhere else or did something different. And so people need to recognize that and not give up hope, just like, okay, there must be another opportunity or a lesson here. That's what I would say.
Well, I truly appreciate your time, Suzanne, and
Thank
it's so neat to be able to
I'm
interview.
glad we kept in touch.
Yes, well, in a different setting, and years down the line, we were able to still come together, and I get to see where you, obviously not from the very beginning, but kind of maybe halfway through or something like that.
Yeah.
And then years down the line, you've grown to such an amazing space, and you have so many. We talk about rewarding factors that have come from Maverick Training Center.
Yes.
So, and aside from, you know, doing the self-defense, that was many years ago. It was like last year I came to check out your classes in the morning, and I was like, I'm not a morning person, but I'm doing this. But it's so good. It's so good. But I would recommend Maverick Training Center to anybody, and obviously you were an amazing person.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate what you do. So thank you again for being my very first Vodcast.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Yeah, and of course, check her out. I'm going to put some information so people can reach out to you if they want more information. But thank you again, Suzanne. You're welcome. And thank you so much for joining in. I'm Stephanie Mills. I hope you enjoyed From Humble Beginnings, the very first episode, and we'll see you next time.